All right. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Friday. We're here. We made it. Made it to the end of the week. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to hang out and geek out on some Dune. Hopefully you guys have seen it. We're going to try to not be spoilery. That sound good, Jody? Try to.
Whatever. You can't spoil it. I mean, it's the book's like older than me. Heck, the first movie's almost as old as me. So
That is true.
it's on you if you don't know what happens in Dune.
Isn't that? Could you say that for all spoilers?
I guess you could. Yeah.
If this gets spoiled for you, it's your fault. So, but yeah, we're gonna jump in and we're gonna model a Crysknife, which is there's lots of lore and stuff like that. We'll dive into that a little bit, hopefully without like maybe okay. Let me phrase it this way: we won't spoil anything specific to the new Dune movie. Does that sound fair?
It sounds plausible.
All right, we'll see what happens. I don't know. So I am Aaron. They call me the SketchUp guy sometimes, and I'm going to be modeling for you. With me is Jody Gates. He'll be the magical voice in our ears.
I never get called the SketchUp guy, so I guess that's cool. It's nice to be in the presence of greatness.
Wow. Throw a name on it, and all of a sudden it's great.
Sure.
I'll take it. So hello, welcome. Just looking at I'm going to get real with you guys. I had to increase the size of the font on my second monitor so I could read the comments. last time I was on here, I'm like, wow, people are saying things. I can't read that. So
I think
I had to bump up the font size.
You might be officially getting old.
Ooh, it's there. Man, I tell you, I'll just be honest again. Last 20 months, I think I aged at least 5 years. I use glasses to read now. I go to bed early. I mean, I just fell apart.
So how often do you get out of a chair and go, oh, and like put your hand on your lower back?
Yeah, getting out of bed's like a 3-minute project now. It's real. It is real. So I'm gonna drink this so as not to distract anybody. I'm gonna drink this invisible water right here so you guys don't.
Nice. I like how the bottom's aluminum but the rest is glass.
Yeah. See. Oh, look. Tall cup of sumele. Okay, that's enough. All right, let's get modeling. So yeah, hey guys, I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys, if you have seen Dune, we're actually, a handful of us here at work are gonna, once our work day is done here, we're gonna go actually watch Dune in the theater. So that's gonna be fun.
On the company's dime. Gotta throw that in there.
It's a perk. But I will say that I did sneak and already watch on HBO before now, but it was still excited to see it in the theater. It's going to be fun.
I am sad because when I saw when they did set up the renewal, there's going to be a part 2 confirmed. They specifically called out. They're like, it's only in theaters for release. So next time around, I'll have to brave the sweaty masses on opening day to be able to watch it.
The sweaty masses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what he calls his coworkers, apparently.
No, on opening day, that's where I'm talking about the mouth breathers that are all waiting in line to go.
Oh, I see. They're all there in their still suits, hanging out, waiting to get in.
I saw something today that said that the cast loved and hated their still suits.
They look cool. I mean, it's definitely. I thought the ones in the David Lynch movie looked okay, but not really very armory. They were definitely very. I don't know. Like a puffer jacket.
Now I need to see it side by side because mind's eye, they really look similar.
Maybe so. All right. Well, let's hop in and let's do this thing.
All I can say for sure is that a Crysknife would cut right through a still suit.
I would imagine so. Yeah. Unless it's con friendly, then probably not.
Folks word.
All right. So I did a little bit of prep for this. Not too much. I still don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to ruin any expectations. But I did go download a couple things. So I downloaded obviously a picture of a Crysknife, and I downloaded a couple materials to use because it's a very organic looking thing. There's pits in the metal. There's a grain in the handle. There's a lot of stuff that. As much as I like modeling detail, the level of organic detail that's in this, I just don't want to spend the time that it would take, I guess. I mean, it's possible to model this. Absolutely, anything's possible. But there's definitely some details on here that would be better left to textures rather than model details. So
I didn't realize there were so many versions of them out here. This is, I mean, it's not quite uh, lightsaber level of people making their own version of it, but
There's quite a few. So I did try to, the image I got, which I'm just going to go ahead and import it now because
why not?
there's no reason not to.
Perfect time.
So I'm going to import this. And this is, I don't know if this is, I'm assuming this is from some page that's selling replicas or something like this, but this looks pretty close to what the actor holds on to when he walks around.
Yeah.
So
That's what he fights with at the end.
That's right.
Spoiler, he fights at the end.
Spoilers, there's fights in this action movie.
Ken pointed out this is like a complete missed opportunity for you to be wearing blue contact, like total full-on blue contact lenses.
If I squint like this, you can't tell what color my eyes are.
I don't know. It seems like the blue is almost glowy blue, though. So
yeah, we'll add that in post. Matt?
Matt, get on there.
All right, so this is what this thing looks like. So there's 3 distinct pieces here.
Is that Elvish writing on the handle? That's awesome.
Oh, we got a whole section of this stream is gonna be dedicated to those letters right there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So there's the blade. So the blade, I figured there's a couple ways it's not symmetrical. You can see it kind of bends a little bit. It has a little bit where it kind of goes in right here, comes out, it's a little bigger at the end. And from the side, it almost goes from like an oval shape that flattens down into obviously a sharp point here. In the book, they talk about the Crysknife being like the sharpest bladed weapon ever, but in the movie, it kind of looks not that sharp. But
so I'm also a little confused by that because I think everybody's seen the shot of the worm coming up and eating an entire like harvester. He didn't use his teeth. He just kind of like completely just sucked that thing down. I feel like you need to basically get whatever the weapon should be, the acid that's in that thing's stomach for processing all the junk it eats.
Yeah, maybe part 2. We'll have
throw acid on him.
An acid squirter.
All right.
That does not sound good.
It doesn't, but it's all you.
So anyhow, having said that, to say that, so there's one piece, this is going to be the blade, and then the handle's kind of got 2 parts. You got this metal piece right here, and then this kind of exposed, I think this is kind of unsharpened, unmessed with tooth or something like that. I don't know, it looks kind of wood grainy. I will probably more than once refer to this as being wood, even though it's not really supposed to be wood, I don't think. Desert planet, there's not trees. So yeah, so I figure we'll model this in 3 different pieces. I have a couple ideas of how to go about this piece. One option, of course, would be to sub-D model it. We could just make a low poly version of it and run sub-D to smooth it out. That's kind of my solution if I can't do it with native tools. I have an idea of how to create this that I want to try with native tools. If it doesn't work, we'll hop in with sub-D. So yeah, we're gonna hop in, we'll make these 3 pieces, put them together. It's gonna be fun.
Nice. Matt's curious if you're gonna also model Chalamet there. Timmy.
No.
Paul,
No.
Muad'Dib, Usul, whatever, pick a name, call him that name.
Him,
That guy.
the guy, the guy.
Yeah.
No, that's not gonna happen.
All right.
I'm okay with that. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is I want to lock my image here. So I'm gonna grab the image, I'm gonna hit explode, and then immediately afterwards, I'm gonna group it, and then I can right click and lock it. I'm locking it, of course, because I'm gonna be zooming in here, moving around and selecting and stuff, and I wanna accidentally select and move, excuse me, my image. All right, next thing to think about. Like I said, I wanna start with this, and I wanna try to do this with native tools first. I don't know how well this is going to work. But actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna unlock it, and I'm gonna turn this so the knife is horizontal to the screen, so I don't have to model everything off at an angle. I'll do that by going to rotate, clicking on the tip of the knife, dragging it back here about the middle of the blade, and just turning that on axis like that, and then I will re-lock it. All right, so that's the image I want to work on. So what I'm thinking is coming up with a kind of a squashed arc shape that would be the height of the knife at the end here. So like, thicker than what it tapers down to. And using that on a follow me shape that is the exterior profile of the knife, and having that kind of like U shape follow it all the way around. Then making that solid and just kind of progressively squashing it down so the whole thing gets narrower and narrower to the point that it's, a sharp thing on the end. So I want to see if I can do it with native tools. I don't know if this is going to work out. This may very well not work, and if it doesn't work, then like I said, I feel okay coming back and trying this again with.
You really keep sort of belaboring the point, almost like you're expecting this to fail, Aaron.
Well, a smart man, something or others, something. I don't know. There's probably a term, like a thing I could say about that, but.
So you have to be sure, looking at that close up, there's this basically serrated edges.
I don't know if that's just anti-aliasing or aliasing. All right, I am going to go in here. So my lines aren't showing up because I'm drawing on a black screen, and that's going to be an issue throughout. So I am going to come in here for right now and turn on X-ray, which can make it a little bit easier to see this stuff. All right, I'm going to see if I can just do a standard arc for this. So if I go...
This is really a good indicator of just how big the sandworms are, because look how big that knife is compared to Semele.
That's an excellent point. That is, I hadn't even thought about that.
It's almost like a long, skinny kukri knife. Kukri? I don't remember. I'm not sure.
Kookaburra?
I feel like it's one of those words I pronounce the wrong way every time I pronounce it.
All right, so oops. I'm going to run both these lines long past the end here intentionally. All right, and then I'm going to take...
Dave R. suggests that you might change the edge color in the style so that you can actually see it against the black backdrop.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was thinking of doing, and then I ended up not doing it, and here we are.
That was one of the best stories I've heard this week.
I'm just being honest. All right, so there we go. So there's kind of the profile. So what again? Let's just see what happens here. Did that make it? It did. That's not necessarily what I wanted to do, but that's okay. I'm gonna come here. I'm only gonna try to do half of the knife. I'm not because it's symmetrical top and bottom, so I can just do just the top half, and then make a component and copy it below. So I'm gonna come over here, and then on this face right here, I'm gonna make that arc. This arc's not gonna be a symmetrical arc, so I could have made a square and squashed it down, but I'm just gonna go ahead and draw a Bezier curve from here to here.
I'm just looking at Semele at the end of the blade down there.
Be afraid.
It's amusing me.
All right. So I'm gonna take that profile and have it trace these two curves. Hey, I should. Oh, we don't have the sound effect. Save.
Oh yeah, I'm not hearing any of Matt's sound effects. If he's doing them, I don't know.
Yeah, probably so. All right, so I'm gonna take that, and this is basically the proof of concept. Let's see if this works. So
I don't see how you could fail at this point. I mean, you pretty much nailed it.
I think I have a shortcut for follow me. There it is. All right, that worked out actually pretty good.
Better than you expected?
Better than I expected.
Nice.
So let's get rid of X-ray here. Ooh. At one point I had an X-ray shortcut, but it doesn't seem to work anymore. All right, this is awesome. This actually is great. This looks like it's weird. It looks like it's not good, but it actually is good. This is not unexpected. I'll say that when you have follow me's coming to a sharp point like this is not a weird way for stuff to turn out.
It's not the weirding way?
It's, ooh.
Uh-huh.
No, this is not unusual. So I can see what happened is it did actually work all the way down the tip, but this part got a little off. Not a big deal, because what I can do is I'm just going to come in here, do a right to left selection, grab both these faces, right click, intersect face with selection, and that'll get me a ridge there. Now I can just come in here and I can just delete these pieces out. I'll select and delete them. Select and delete, select and delete. Oh, that turned out pretty cool.
I can't not see Sting. Not Sting from the first Dune, but Sting, the little glowing sword from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I thought you were making a David Lynch. I was gonna outlaw that and say no, it's a different movie.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was talking about Sting, I would actually probably be talking about Sting from Only Murders in the Building.
It's good to know we're in sync, because that was exactly when you said Sting, I first thought of him there, and then I thought of him as old Sting.
He can be all over the place.
In the Steve Martin comedy, yeah. All right, so I could hide these, but just best practice, I don't actually want this geometry or need it in my model, so hiding is okay. So smoothing, or smoothening, as it has been said before by me, is a good thing to do. It's not a bad thing. But that does end up giving you extra geometry you don't necessarily need. All right, and what should happen, this should all be the same height. So if I draw a line from here to here, this should close the top up. Yeah. And the rest basically draws itself. All right.
So I'm unfamiliar with Extra Life, but I looked it up and it appears to be a charitable event for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Anyway, Evan said that he is doing Extra Life tomorrow, and he modeled all of his 3D printed donation incentives in SketchUp.
Nice.
And he said, I appreciate the caution in the statement. It was mostly fun.
That's fair. I think generalizations like, oh, it was all great.
Everything was amazing. It was perfect.
Make me wary.
That's pretty cool, though. I hadn't heard of this charity.
That's awesome. What is it a charity for? Just out of curiosity.
So it's a program of Children's Miracle Network, powered by Twitch. So it is largely in the gaming space.
Cool.
The pictures on this sort of remind me of PAX, but I don't know. What does PAX even stand for? Penny Arcade Con? I don't know.
Con stuff. All right. So a couple things going on here. So I do have extra geometry that I do want to get rid of. I'm going to go ahead and make this a group. And I'm going to make it a group so I can enter it and get rid of everything else.
Look at that.
All right. So get rid of some of this stuff. I am curious why some things are closing and some things are not. There we go. Awesome. Up here, so I have some internal faces where those two, remember where the pieces crossed over each other? So I still have some stuff going on right here. When you go to erase curved geometry, if you erase an edge, let's show some hidden real quick, all you're actually doing is erasing the edge of that one piece. So if you really want to, I'm flipping upside down, that doesn't always go well. If you want to get rid of a segmented arc like that, the thing to do is select the surface and delete it, rather than trying to delete the edges one at a time. All right, once I do that, and close this up, go up to the tip. Boop. All right, start erasing some extra lines. So this has a bunch of extra geometry. But if you have lines that are those heavy edge lines in the middle of a surface, you can triple click them to highlight them. And then just, I can delete that. Same thing here. Delete that. All right. Oops, we got upside down. All right, with that, let's triple click and soften and smooth to get rid of that extra line up top. It's not too bad. Down here where I got close to the tip, this is where it's coming real narrow. So it met at less than whatever edge I had. So I could just come down here and option erase those pieces to get rid of that. Ooh, there's more. There's always more. Oh, still more. Closer, closer. Eventually I'll get the last one. There we go. All right. So there, that looks pretty good. So that's a good start. So there's more that I was thinking I could do with that, but I think I'm gonna stick with this for right now. All right. The other thing I want to see with this right now is entity info. It is a solid group. At some point, I want to join my 3 pieces together, my 2 handle pieces and my blade together. At some point, I'm going to want to merge this with the other half of the component underneath. But right now, this is good. This is a good start for my blade. I am going to take it and I'm going to add some tags here so I can quickly turn the pieces on and off. I don't like to hide completed geometry. I always talk about hide as being a temporary thing, that the right click and hide command. It works, it absolutely does what it's supposed to do, but it's really easy to lose stuff or forget stuff's there and interact with it in negative ways. So I'm just going to take it and I'm going to create a tag called blade. And then I'll put it on the blade and then turn it off. All right, moving on.
Kent does think that looks very toothy. I'm going to agree.
Yeah, and we do have these marks down here too that we'll go ahead and throw those in also. I want to get my basic geometry blocked out first though.
So I had completely forgotten because we're here in the States, but it's I don't know if it's officially a holiday over there in England, but today's the day that they tried to blow up Parliament.
Like
long time ago.
Recent history? Okay.
And then they made a comic book about the return or another dude.
Yeah, I know a lot of my my history is as seen through comics, so it's not weird that I know V for Vendetta better than I know actual British history.
It's funny as you missed it is at our little shop nights meet this week. Bucky was at the bookstore, and that's what he had just bought. Was the and probably because of today. I'm gonna guess it's probably today. I didn't think about it at the time, but now I get it.
How is that? I mean, I know we have some people from that side of the pond on the stream often. How is that celebrated? Is that celebrated? Is that something that you're like, woo, or is that kind of a somber thing? I don't know. I don't know anything about it. So
yeah. Was it a thing before it got made into V for Vendetta? I mean, it was one of those holidays. It's like, it's a day we remember because it's what you do.
All right.
Sort of like Bastille Day. So another one is where I'm like, because it's a day, is anybody actually observing that day?
Oops. All right, I was trying to think about how I want to go about rounding this over. This needs to have a little bit of depth to it, right? Because it's a handle. So it has to have some thickness to it, but I don't see it as being a very uniform thickness. So I kind of feel like I want to do the same thing and maybe just try to follow it with a slightly bigger arc and then see how that plays out. Maybe I'll try that. I'm winging it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like a bird wing, ornithopter wing? What kind of wing?
Yeah, I do question of all the flying animals, who thought that the dragonfly was the one to try to emulate in a vehicle? That's an interesting one. I mean, I guess you get the vertical takeoff thing and the hovering, but
yeah,
it's
a lot of moving parts to have to worry about.
That is.
And sand, as Anakin told us, gets everywhere.
That's true.
Okay, so Christoph said that fireworks and bonfires are quite common where he's at in the UK. He's only been there for a few years, so he's not 100% sure how widespread it is. But there's dogs barking. Maybe this is like 4th of July for us, where there's just lots of explosions everywhere, so there's lots of irritated
dogs
pets.
Do not care for 4th of July. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that date association. Dave said it's been 66 years since Doc Brown fell off his toilet and invented time travel.
Today?
According to Dave, I have no
Okay. Put the Crysknife on hold. I'm going to go download a picture of flux capacitor.
We are going to be making a mind-reading helmet. That's what you should be making. You know what that means? It means this thing doesn't work. Do you remember what his guess was whenever he met Marty? You are with the Coast Guard.
Oh, because of his vest.
Yeah, his life jacket.
His life jacket. That's right.
Dave said today with an exclamation mark. So
Wow.
must be today.
All right. So here's a thing that's happening. I am intentionally. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I am being intentional about making this one big piece, and then I want to go in and kind of carve out the curve that this not wood part will sit down into. But one of the things that we want to be conscious of when using Follow Me is that generally, to Follow Me, I take my geometry past where I want it to be and then cut it back unless it ends at a perfect flat face. This is not going to be perfectly flat because as this face pulls along or follows that, it's going to actually end up as two separate angles. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to run it long and then just cut it back afterwards. See how that works.
So Dave was making the comment that whoever was sharpening that blade really kind of wreaked havoc on it. But it kind of brings up a question that I've got about all things Fremen, is these are people living in caves. Everything about them looks distinctly low tech until you see the thing they use for compacting sand or the thing for summoning worms or the still suit. Like, what are there Fremen engineers that we're just not really seeing? Mostly we just kind of see the fighty types.
Maybe they outsource. Maybe they have some off-world contacts that they work with to get their tech made.
Maybe.
So one of the things I did last time was I did a group select and grabbed everything and intersected. This time I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm actually going to get rid of this arc and this arc, which are the inside pieces, altogether. So that actually gets rid of everything all the way up here. It'll make it easier to smooth this out too. And then I can just take this piece, this is all one piece, all joined together, and intersect that with the selection. That'll make it a little bit easier to clean up because I can just delete that, nip the ends off, and then I can triple click delete. Ooh, I missed a piece. All right. And I can grab that. Looks like that could be a handle. Looks handily. I can handle that.
I'm really getting. Oh,
you're welcome.
I'm really getting the feeling that you're gonna be able to do this all with native tools.
I think so. I think this is gonna work. I like that. I feel good about myself. Like, I love extensions. You guys know I love extensions. I got nothing wrong with extensions. Extensions are awesome. But when I can do something with the basic tools and it's not like I'm not working in a stupid way where I'm like, hammering nails in with pasta or something. I don't know. I'm not doing good on the
your analogies are
analogy. Thank you. I couldn't even remember the word analogy. I'm gonna stop talking model. Model monkey. Model.
Less words, more draw. Okay, so Simon said we have no fireworks in their village other than tonight because Lawrence said that they've been having not big bonfires, but they've been having fireworks all week. But what amuses me, no offense, Simon, is he said in their village. And I can't think that there is a single village in America. Like nobody calls a small town a village. I'd like.
So I lived in a village.
You what?
Johnstown, up north was a village when I lived there. No, I'm sorry, it was a town. No, that wasn't. No, that was not. But there is. Crap! I lived somewhere that was a village. I swear, it happened once. Oh, mountain town.
I mean, I think there's lots of places that have the word village in there, but like Greenwich Village, it's not really a village.
No, that's a borough, right? No, I feel like somewhere in the mountains we have some villages.
Hobbits and badgers.
So that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
So I made an arc. I made a solid out of this arc. So I'm going to use that real quick with some solid tools. Pull up solid tools. Grab this. Subtract this from this. Oh, not a solid. Now you're messing with me. Ooh. So I could use an extension to find out why it's not, or I could look and see if I can. Oh, there. Found it. I got to make my own sound effects because Matt's not here.
Simon said he used to live in a hamlet, which is even smaller than a village.
You know, every time you say Simon Says, I think we're playing a game.
That means that you can actually react to what I'm saying.
Simon Says, live in a village.
See ya.
All right. Cool. I like that. I like how that looks. Let's see how big that is compared to the blade. Actually, man, that looks. If you're thinking of a chunk of metal wrapped around the geometry of the blade, that actually turned out pretty cool.
It's nice. I wonder what kind of ores they have on Arrakis for making metal bits.
That's a good question. That I do not know.
One of the things that I always forget whenever I'm looking at Dune is this is the year 10,000. I mean, these are humans, presumably all from Earth, that have now gone out to disparate parts of everywhere. But if we couldn't fold space until there was spice, how did we get to Arrakis in the first place?
Now you're asking. Well, 10,000 years we spent. Maybe Arrakis is just what they call Neptune. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's just different accent. All right.
Weird accent.
I'm going to assign this to a new tag. I didn't even say the L word at all. I wasn't even tempted to. And I can turn that off, and I'll turn that blade back off. So what I'm going to do is make another solid tool chunk, another solid chunk right here that I can chop that piece out.
So did you, in your hardly doing any work at all, research at all, did you at least find out what the words say on that little chunk of metal there?
I tried, and I could not find it. In fact, I couldn't even find, you know, a lot of stuff like this that people start making props of. You can actually find vector artwork of like fake letters. Like if you go look up what are the words on Sting say or something like that, you can go find somebody who's written that up.
Yeah.
I couldn't find that at all. So yeah, it was weird. I was surprised that I couldn't find more information about that.
It probably says like property of, crap, what's her name?
Warner Brothers?
No, Chani. Because that's Chani's knife.
Is it?
Oh, that's a spoiler.
Oh man.
Gummit. Right? It was hers. She gave it to him. She didn't give him somebody else. That would be, oh man, that'd be pretty sneaky. She's like,
Full
here,
prop.
use this knife. I stole it.
Somebody's gonna kick your butt. Yeah. I don't know, but there's a whole lot of lore around these here knives. All right, that's good. Close that up. Give that some depth. All right, I'm gonna undo real quick. I'm gonna do a click weld on this right now. Beforehand, doing that's gonna give me smooth edges. And this is actually a little over welded because I need to just reassign my shortcut to X-ray because I'm losing steam every time I do that. This is over welded because see my close to 90-degree angle got welded too, but since this is just a cutting piece, I'm gonna delete out afterwards. I'm not too worried about it. So I'm gonna make that a group, turn my metal back on, select this piece, and erase from. Oh, there we go. So select this piece, subtract from this piece. Oh, it's coming together. Okay, so I had this thing happen.
Oh, neat.
This happens sometimes. I don't know what causes this. This is not a scale thing because I am plenty large, like, right? This is meters long.
It
But
looks
for some
like a
reason,
hairline fracture.
yeah. I don't know why that happens sometimes. It does give me an opportunity to do some quick stitching though.
Hey. Maybe that's why it happens.
That's right. So I'm gonna do a little therapy because I was feeling irritated about that, and then watch the stress just
walks
fade
away.
Look at this. Oh,
Break the grip and walk away.
putting it together. Yeah, I'm not sure. some people have said that they use other tools like Enrot solid tools and run into that less often. But every once in a while, it doesn't happen often, but it's definitely with organic shapes like this where you end up with a lot of smaller faces. This is not, when we say small faces, a lot of times we're talking about those sub-millimeter, won't show up right kind of geometries. This is just little guys, a couple of little pieces, smaller faces.
This is one of those cases where you end up wasting time, where I would end up wasting time trying to find the bigger tool to automate or streamline this process. And in the time that I'm looking around, I could have drawn those.
And that was exactly my thought was, let me undo, copy that over, scale it up by 100, try it again, see if it still causes the problem. Or you could draw 6 lines and stitch together and be done. I'm learning, guys. This is where I'm at.
Look at you growing.
Big boy today. All right. We have one more piece to put in here. We exit out of here. The blade does run through, which, well, maybe I'll use that profile to actually create the. No, I'm not gonna do it. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come into this one.
No.
Can I grab that? I'm gonna grab that piece, and now I can.
Ooh, that's fun. That's a fun little bit of whatever we over there.
All right. Show me what your problem is. What's your problem?
That line right there.
Oh, because that's the next edge. Okay, that still works. So I can. Nope. All right. I'm not going to do what I was saying I was going to do. What I'm going to do is stick with my solid tools. So solid tools to do something kind of weird here. I'm going to do this wrong. I'm going to use trim. We'll see what happens. I want to trim this piece out of this piece. So I'm going to click that. And now if I come in here, I have that. So I have 2 chunks. You notice that if I click on this, it still says it's a solid group, even though there's 2 separate pieces in it. It's just saying that inside the group, there's nothing that qualifies it as not a solid. So a solid's not necessarily a single enclosed manifold piece. It means there's nothing that violates it being a manifold piece. So I'm just going to come in here, select this, and delete it. We're good again. All right, one last piece, and then we're going to talk about texture. We're going to talk about lettering and patterns on the blade. There's these intertwined circles on the blade. We're going to put those in. We're also going to make the second half of the knife. Very important, I would imagine. All right, so it looks like this comes up and just about butts up. So I'm going to start a line right here. Go turn my X-ray back. You know, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go to my preferences. I'm going to go to my shortcuts. I feel like you guys are like in my personal life right now. Like showing my shortcuts on screen feels very...
All your vulnerabilities.
Yeah, we're family now. So I'm going to search for X-ray. There we go. And I'm just going to assign the X key to that. So now I should be able to...
Maybe we just witnessed a breakthrough where you... Because, I mean, that's a very personal thing to decide what deserves to be a shortcut and what it is. Yeah.
It was kind of a big deal. Thanks, guys. I feel good about myself right now. All right, so I'm going to come in here, hit that executed toggle on X-ray, and I'm going to grab an arc. Looks like this comes in like I was saying, just almost the same spot there. And then I'll pull it out to like maybe here. I do have a little bit of that thing. We've talked about this on other streams too. I got that thing going on where I have a little bit of distortion in the picture. So the picture that I'm seeing is just a little bit warped. So you can see like if this is a flat face, I can see just inside of it a little bit. Same thing over here, the way this corner sits. So I'm making my geometry align to that as much as possible without stressing out the fact that it's not perfect. All right, that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and turn both my blade and my metal off. Whoops, got to reassign that because I... And again, same as I did before, I'm going to run this line just a little bit long. And then same thing here, run this line. I want to go parallel to that. There we go. A little bit long. And now I got to figure out what the profile looks like. Oops, that's not there. That's not parallel. Go parallel to this. It's pretty close to red, but it's not. And then I'm going to draw my face perpendicular to that. So I'm going to draw it big enough so that it runs all the way past. I'm going to draw a vertical line here. I want that vertical line to fit down inside the metal, so I'm going to toggle the metal on real quick. I think I put that one on the wrong side. I did. There we go. So if we go vertical to the highest point, put this on the wrong tag. I put it on blade. I was a step ahead of myself. Now I can draw off metal. There we go. So I want the arc of this to fall inside this line right here. So I'm going to use Bezier curve again. Let's start here. I'm going to come below the top because the top is where the metal's at. I want to have a fairly steep, yeah, I kind of like that. Nope, that was not it. Try that again. Draw a Bezier. I'll turn this blade off, but the blade's getting in the way. So I start here, come up to below the high point, and then go vertical. That, yeah. I think that's out of axis when I did that. Let's see, if I draw a line from here to here, does it close? It does not. The problem I had right there was when I drew it, it snapped to the green axis, which is just slightly off of where this line is. So what I'm going to do to get myself a line I can snap to is, we'll go ahead and do this. I'll draw a line up here, the same height, here. So now we have a surface to actually work on. And toggle that off. And now I'll do that again. Draw my Bezier from just below down to the corner of my shape. First one's going to come out like this, and then we'll something like that. I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to try it. I'll go ahead and follow me it.
Follow me it. That's right.
Did I use that verb correctly?
Yeah.
All right. I need to get all my lines here welded together again. I try to do weld before doing push, pull, or follow me because it's easier to do that than clean up afterwards. So not just clean up though, it's also a solid piece that so I don't have to worry about, in the future having to clean it up again. So I'm gonna grab that piece. I'm gonna hit follow me with this guy. That'll work, I think. Let's see if the metal covers it up. Nope. Close. Well, it's just inside. I want to push it down just a little bit, so I'm going to grab all of it, scale, and then just deform it just a little bit more. There we go. So it falls down inside there.
So Simon's curious if you've ever tried using the Bezier curve tool with 2 points instead of 3.
I have. When I made a video about Bezier curve at multiple points.
Nice. Well, of all the times to do it, that seems like the perfect time to do it.
But when I get into it, I start making it. I just don't. At the beginning, when you start Bezier curve, you can actually tell it how many control points you want. I just have gotten so used. I used to use Illustrator a lot, and I got in the habit of drawing my lines point, and then using the 1 or 2 points to modify it. I just got used to drawing Beziers that way, so I've never really gone out and attempted to make it any other way.
All right.
But I know it's there. It is there. It is a great way to do it. All right, I'm going to take this piece, and I'm going to use this as a cutter. I'm going to trim. I'm using trim instead of erase or subtract. Subtract will actually throw out your cutter afterwards. Trim keeps your, I just hit my power key rather than my delete key. They're this close together.
You get wildly different results.
It's not the same thing. All right. So I just want to say, 40 minutes in, I'm feeling pretty good about my model.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna-
Now you're probably going to be getting a nice pinky up. You're making a call from the props team with whoever made Dune,
That's right.
either to try and hire you or because of copyright infringement.
Chris Rosewarne knows how to get a hold of me. He can call me up. All right. So there we go. So right now, so one of the things that happened in this model as we were doing, it's a lot of solid tool work we were just doing. When you do solid tools, you, excuse me, when you do solid tools, you do end up creating new groups. So one of the things that solid tools does is it takes whatever you have, existing group or component, and it replaces it with a new entity, a new object. So each of these, even though I did create several of them as components, are now, as I click through them, you can see they're all groups. So one of the things I'm going to do is, before I go much further, I'm going to right click and make each of these a component. I'm going to call this the blade. Call this the handle metal, and call this all right. And then one of the things I'll do right now, then we'll grab all three of these pieces and I'll make that into another component that I will call knife. No. Yes.
Yes, no.
So I got a question. Who knows the answer to this? How long does a knife have to get before it becomes a sword? Because I feel like...
So like as Paul is holding that, it looks like a short sword. But whenever I'm rereading the books right now, and they just talked about the knife, just general size. And it's only, I'm just going to say it in inches. They literally said it in millimeters, and I converted it in my head, but I can't seem to convert it back. But it was about 4 inches long. So not that.
Well, do you remember not that, so sorry, time out to geek out. So do you remember I feel like in the David Lynch movie, it was smaller. Like it had like a bone handle and it had like a little smaller blade on it.
Well, like when you were looking at pictures, I went over and did a search for Crysknife, and yeah, there's a version where it is definitely a 4-inch blade. The handle's weird. It's like their teeth are made out of ostrich. It's all just got lots of holes in it.
It's very organic looking in the old movie. All right, so I'm going to throw some textures on here. Like I said, if we look at the image, you can see that this is kind of pitted, hammered metal, and this has this texture on it that almost looks like wood. I know it's not wood, but it looks that that way. So I grabbed a couple of materials to pull in and actually use for this. So I'm gonna make a couple rectangles. This will be metal. This will be wood, and then I'm going to file import. And here's my hammered metal material I have. So I'm going to, not as an image, but import as a texture. I'm going to try to import that to about the size. This is probably not seamless, so I'll probably have to mess with it, but about the size where the pits look like they're about the right size. All right, there we go. And then I will go import the wood grain I grabbed. And again, just try to get it so that I got some scratches and grain in here. So get them so they're about the right size, similar to what's here. All right, so at that point, I've imported these materials. I'm not done, I'm not ready to apply them just yet, but I can start working with them. So with this one, the wood grain, I'm gonna go ahead, right click and say position texture. And I wanna rotate it so that that grain is running approximately the same direction right there. So here's the thing about Crysknives. I'm exploiting the way Crysknives work because they're all organic. They're made from organic material and they're all different. So it's not gonna look exactly like that because it can't, because that's how they work. Yep. Excuses. All right. This piece, I don't know, this metal is definitely like pitted a lot harder than what we got. Like this is far more subtle over here. But I think you really only be able to see it on the front and the back. So I really want to just kind of get the big pits So they would line up here and here. I think that looks good. I think that's gonna work okay. And this is not a well, is it no, it's not a properly tiling texture. All right, so there's my materials I want to use. I'm going to do one more thing though. I'm going to make these projected textures because I want these to, for one thing, lay properly over the curved surfaces. Non-projected textures can end up jumping as they move across smooth surfaces and it looks weird. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take them one at a time and I'm going to kind of line them up where I think I want those textures to be. Because what will happen when you apply any texture, it takes it from the original location it's at and it tiles it. So if you have a box over here and then a separate box over here, the way SketchUp applies that is it goes, okay, texture here, tile, 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 and then it hits that other piece. So if I want to actually control exactly where that material lines up, I want to take my surface here and get it lined up underneath the geometry beforehand, and then I can come in here, grab this, hop into my paint bucket, unhide all the rest of that stuff, and then select that texture and apply it. And there we go. Once I've applied it, I can take this material and move it. It's not connected or at that point or anything. Like moving it's not gonna make the material slide over, but moving it once I'm done is not gonna matter. It's not gonna bother it. All right, I don't know how this is gonna work out. This is an interesting one. So I'm gonna come in here, grab all this, grab this texture and apply it. Okay. Listen, it's pitted a little harder. Whoever made this was maybe had a little steeper ball peen hammer that really got into it, but
got really aggressive. Sorry,
yeah.
I got quiet because I was pulling up my copy of Dune here. It's 20 centimeters long is how long the blade is. So I guess it's longer than I was. It's more than 4 inches.
So if I draw a line 20 centimeters, see how I did that conversion in my head? That's
Nice.
about 7 7/8 inches.
Nice, nice.
Work smarter, not dumber. That's what I always say.
You should get that on a shirt.
Okay, so that looked kind of cool. That looks kind of cool. I like it. I like where we're going with this. I did not get a gradient here, but maybe I'll use Tyson's gradient trick he taught us last week to try to make a gradient for the,
Oh, I missed
blade.
that. This is excellent. I'll get a chance to see it.
Awesome. Let's see if I can remember it.
It's
I
gonna
got to
be
stall
amazing.
for a little bit while I try to recall what that was. All right. So this actually looks more like it's diamond encrusted than, oh, you know what? I didn't make that a projected texture. That's not right. Time to Control Z this thing. All right. Projected. All right, there we go. Now I come in here.
It's being
There we
suggested
go.
that the metal part of the handle, well, some part of that, the wood should be darker.
Darker. We can do that too, because one of the things I can do is I can actually come in here to the materials I have in the model, and I can come in and I can edit that, and I can change the lightness or darkness. I chose poorly. I grabbed the wrong one. All right, with that I can come in and is it darker?
It looks less brown. Ooh, well,
I'm customize this thing. Yeah, let's go to nice dark. Maybe I should not do that. Too saturated. Where's my red? Where's my, oh. I'm trying to move my cursor at the same time watching the wood over here.
cross your eyes.
Apparently I'm not good at that level of multitasking. That's too purple. Is that a little darker? That looks pretty close to exactly what I started with. All right, I'm moving on.
Seems like a good time to do so.
All right, I'm gonna save. All right, so here's the thing. Here's the thing I did. In searching for those letters, if I go here, let me show you what I did. I actually found something that was very enlightening and exciting to me. So I found this higher resolution image. Sorry, I imported that as a texture, not as an image. So I found this higher resolution image.
You're gonna have to flip it after you rotate it.
Yeah, it's the wrong side. But I found this, and you can actually see the letters. I mean, they're supposed to look like they're maybe crudely carved or stamped into the metal, so they're definitely rough. But here's the thing I did, and I was actually kind of proud of myself because I always struggle to find a good use case for the freehand line. And it turns out drawing outlines of crude characters stamped in the metal is exactly what it was made for. So what I could do, I can come in here and I can just kind of do this. It's not fun, but it really wasn't that bad to just kind of come in here and do that and then erase where it overlaps. I got a couple little spots that are sticking up here, so I just hop back in my freehand line, draw that. Couldn't tell if that was another one or not. That got silly. Let's don't be so silly. So I could do something kind of like this. There we go. And delete this face out, delete this face out, delete this face out. And I now have a 2D shape that I could go cut out of my handle. Now, that wasn't too bad. That was pretty quick, a little messy, but there's a lot of characters. So I broke my own rule and I did a little pre-planning, a little work ahead of time. And I actually traced all those characters and saved them in a separate file. So I'm going to go ahead and just import that file. Where is it? Letters.skp.
Nice. This is the digital equivalent of bending over and pulling the completed turkey out of the oven.
I just baking showed this thing. That's right. All right, there we go. And go something like that. I think this is going to work. Turn off X-ray. I'm going to take that, raise it up to here.
I'm going to agree with the observation that the handle all that metal kind of looks like bubble wrap.
Ooh, bubble wrap. I like that.
Oh, I guess it's better to grip, right? It's
That's
nice
right.
and soft.
It doesn't hurt your hand.
Yeah.
You know, Fremen have a lot of bad things going for them. There's some rough conditions. Maybe a nice cushy bubble wrapped Crysknife handle would be a blessing for them.
And what says Fremen more than having a nice cushy handle on your knife?
I don't know. That's pretty much that's it. All right. One of the things I did not do is I did not make these 3D. So here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to select all. I'm going to right click and weld. And then I'm going to come in here and push pull each of these. Double click, double click, double click. So there's a little repetitive work, but it's you know, I think I learned a lot when we did the video card. And I feel like I have a good gauge of what I should not spend time live modeling. And these letters jumped right out at me as a bad idea. All right.
We're lucky that your first attempt to do it with native tools worked, because it then gave you a little wiggle room
That's right.
to embed these guys.
That's right. All right. So there we go. So now I got a 3D representation, and I can drop that down in the handle. So remember what I was saying before about how I have a component currently, but if I start messing with it, it's going to not become a component. So the way I can get around that is by working inside the existing component. So I'm going to take this piece right here. I'm going to command X to cut it. I'm going to come in context. That's inside the knife. I'm going to go in context inside the handle piece. I'm going to grab all of this and make it a group. And then I'm going to say edit, base in place. So now I have two pieces, one here, one here. This one's not solid for some reason. Let's Command S it and find out, or Control Shift S. It's got one stray edge. Yeah. All right. So going back to, actually, it doesn't matter if it's solid or not because I'm going to use intersect face and not. That's really, ignore what I just said.
I'm
All
sorry,
right.
what'd you say?
Jody's got it. All right. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take, I guess, everything I just said. Never mind. Doesn't matter. We're not using that command. I'm going to grab this piece right here. I'm going to say intersect face with model. And that should give me, oh yeah, look at that. All right, so a couple of these pieces didn't close all the way. Maybe we might be able to force them. Oh yeah, that fell right in. Look at that. That's beautiful. What else do I got? Anything else? Anything else?
Lawrence is wondering if you should be angling these.
Well, so this is a curved surface, so they wrap around that piece. The next step I do will be using an extension. I don't think I can get away with it anymore. So I'm gonna take some darker. I think that looks good. So I'm gonna just come in here, color these with a nice dark gray. Like I got some, just, you know, it's oldness rubbed in there inside this little recess that we're creating. Awesome. This turned out really well. I was not sure how. Yes, it is a little bubble wrappy still, but I was trying to work with what I had. All right, so I'm going to take that, I'm going to save, and I am going to go into.
So there's this entire kind of community mocking thing. I don't know if you had this when you were a kid, but it used to be if you went to a mall, because there used to be these things called malls with a bunch of stores in there.
I remember malls.
And there was always one that was like Oriental imports or Asian imports or something really generic like that. And they would have like really cheaply made ninja stars and weapons. And so there's this whole community of making fun of mall ninja stuff. And I'm thinking with these bubble wrappy handles, this is what I would call mall fremen.
I can see that. I don't dislike that. That was weird. I don't know what just happened.
Sorry, I distracted. I'll be quieter.
No, I'm getting this weirdness. Look at this grid. It's like I'm peeling off the drywall and seeing the. Is it something to do with this? Surface, face by face, all connected faces. Huh, that was new. Why is it doing that? Oh, just when you know, I was getting cocky. I was talking about how good I felt about how everything was going. That was my downfall. Don't say that. Don't say that out loud. What are you, crazy?
On the air, even people heard it, so it's not even.
Yeah, I transmitted that. Stupid. All right, let me open my. I kind of wonder if I just used the wrong kind of joint push pull. That seemed to did nothing. Oh, that'll work.
Carson said disable borders in the hidden part of the plugin.
Wait, when?
Disable borders in hidden part of plugin. Those are the words he said. Since I don't know the plugin, I'm literally just a conduit for the words that he typed.
That's ugly. I don't like that. I'll be honest with you. I a lot of times struggle to remember which push pull does what. All right.
That's like me in Solids tools. I don't always remember which order I need to be clicking things.
Oh, I think I hit normal push pull instead of joint push pull. Gotta get rid of that. Okay. All right, let's try normal. That's close. All right, so I might have to do a little bit of cleanup there, but I think that'll work. I think I got a solution. I hit normal push-pull, which I think has something to do, it's not normal like regular normal. It's normal like having to do with normals to the axis or something like that. So it looks like I might have a little bit of cleanup to do on some of these letters, but let's just see. I'm barreling through again instead of messing around and trying to fix up things as I go because I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to grow. A bigger, better person. So this is not unusual in my experience for join push pull to occasionally have a face or two that it can't close.
So here's what I've learned today, Aaron, is in the UK, their daylight savings time ended last weekend. So we have a lot of people that are like,
oh, welcome to the show.
yeah, Andy just got here. Good news is that this weekend is the end of daylight savings time in the US. So it'll be normal for everybody everywhere next week.
So we're all going to goof it up next week. All right, show me. Okay, there we go. So this is actually fairly, oh, whoa, that one's just straight up missing, buddy. All right, that wasn't so bad. Huh, that's weird. Fortunately, it's turning out to be pretty easy to fix. Just every once in a while I got a missing face. It looks like it's, no, it's not even on the same axes.
It's all messed up because the curvy surface.
The curviness.
Maybe it's time to stop talking.
Back to button clicking. Got it. All right. But anyhow, fairly easy cleanup there compared to the work it would have taken to do that manually. Which I do recall back when I was first using SketchUp, trying to do stuff like this, taking a shape and then making a copy of it and going like that, and then just stitching the vertical edges together. And I did a lot of stupid stuff for a lot of years. But hey, that really makes you appreciate when you find the right solution rather than doing it the dumb way for longer. I think we probably got a silly thing going on over here.
So curious how much longer this part takes than the actual building of the knife.
Yeah, this is definitely detail work. Yeah, detail work. There we go. One last little chunk here. All right, there we go. Letters are in the blade. Oh, what the crap? Well, now that's going to be a little bit more work. I lost everything.
Control Z.
Oh, man. Okay, so here's what to do when that happens.
Control Z?
I'm going to grab this. I'm going to make a copy of it. Command C. And then, yeah, I'm going to Control Z a bunch. Just hope that was less than 100 steps because the undo stack for SketchUp is 100. Oh, there it is. Okay, now it's back. Grab that face, copy it. And now I'm going to Command Shift Z, redo. All right, and now I can just edit, paste in place, that back where it goes. We're good again. Whew. Crisis averted. All right. We got a handle. Next thing is this that we have. So what I need to do is similar, make a 3D shape that will go in and cut the blade and then allow me to recess it again. So I think what I'll do is throw some circles in here. Whoa, that was a heck of a guess right there. And then we'll offset to give the circle a little bit of size to it. Grab all of those. It looks like they meet right here, so I'm just going to come here to this middle point. Give that 180 degrees. Looks pretty good. I'm going to clean up the intersections. I just want a single shape if I can swing that, which I do believe I can. I have faith. I'm going to make it happen. Hey, here's a question for everybody listening. Have you yet, at this point,
Seen Dune?
well, I was going to actually go down the base camp route, but
Oh, geez.
we can come back to that. Have you heard that base camp's happening? That's thing one. And if you have, anybody bought a ticket yet?
I'm still trying to get my employer to pay for it.
You know, I think we have a page on there. If we don't, it's coming. That is how to, whoops, I hit.
Convince your employer to pay.
Convince your, not arguments, but value propositions that you can use with your employer. Why I should go to base camp. That's the thing. All right, I have this additional shape right here that I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to actually try to draw this.
So I want to know, I hope that the prop maker has very specific intent with all of these things. I hope that that's not just gibberish. I hope that there is a real message on the stamped on the handle. And these rings, I hope they mean something.
I don't want to ruin anything for you, but sometimes you do stuff because it looks cool.
Most of the things that I do are because it looks cool, but I feel like there are other people that do things with purpose.
That's probably a true statement. There probably are people who do that.
Calvin said, "What is base camp?"
All right. Thank you, Calvin. So base camp is our normally biennial, which means 2 years, user conference where we all get together. And basically this thing that we're doing right now where we hang out virtually and talk about SketchUp and watch somebody use SketchUp, we do it in real life, real time, real life, where people actually join together and
talk about masks.
do SketchUp.
Oh, yeah.
So it's awesome. It's coming. We're going to do it again. It's going to be in September in Vancouver. And yeah, so it is an amazing time. It is an awesome thing to come join. We get to learn from people who use SketchUp in their jobs every day, tell us about how they use it, what they do with it. Yeah, it's a great opportunity to hang out with our community. So all that to say, if you haven't been before, you really should check it out. I'm sure Jody has probably already shared the link to the site.
In fact, I have.
I knew it. I had faith.
I think it's already been clicked probably 6 times.
Nice. But yeah, check it out because Basecamp is awesome. It's not just fun, it's a great learning experience. If you are like a lot of our users, a lot of SketchUp users are like the only guys in their office or workspace that actually use SketchUp. So we hear a lot of times that like, it was so cool to go to Basecamp and find out there's other people like me.
meet real SketchUp users. So I'm looking on the website here and I feel like you were overly wordy in your description because the first thing it says on the site is what is 3D Basecamp, And it's 2 sentences. You managed to draw out.
Well,
It is hands down the best way to learn SketchUp and have fun while you're at it. Hands-on training, mind-expanding presentations, and a killer networking party.
I did not prep for that. I'll admit. I guarantee whoever wrote that wasn't modeling details on a Crysknife at the same time.
Probably, although it was
In fact,
probably operating. Yeah,
I will
it probably
guarantee
was.
100% that wasn't happening. All right. I have this detail now. I'm going to copy it. Actually, I'm going to cut it. There's no reason to copy. And then I'm going to turn my blade on. Oh. Oh no, where's my blade? Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Go ahead and grab this. Grab by the tip. Stick it around about here.
That is it's an impressive looking worm tooth you got there.
Thanks. A dime for every time I heard that.
Wasn't Wormtooth the name of the little henchman guy in Lord of the Rings?
Worm tail? Tongue?
Worm tongue.
All right, let's place that back where it was. Oh, that's cool. All right, so I don't want my details to go to the edge of the blade, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to shift it up just ever so slightly. So I want to cut in that much. That looks cool. All right, so now I'm going to come in here. I'm going to grab this face right here, just this face. I don't have to do the whole thing, and say intersect that with model. If you're being very careful when you do this kind of work, it's real easy to do this. Intersect with model. What you have to be careful of when you intersect with model is things like reference images, hidden geometry, groups outside of context. Because when you say intersect with model, it looks at all the geometry in the whole model and says what intersects with what the selected. So this worked real well because the only thing that I have lapping on is this one piece. But I do like using that command because it tends to be a little bit easier. Just tell it, just overlap with all of it. Oh man, none of this stuff intersected. So there's other ways to do this. I'm just going to real quick click on here. One of the things you can do, there's extensions that will help you intersect geometry like this. For what I'm doing, it's a couple of shapes, so it's going to be real easy to do it this way. The other thing you can do is when you have geometry like that that doesn't intersect, is select the geometry, move it perpendicular away from the plane, and then drag it back down and intersect it with the plane again manually. And a lot of times that will force the cut. I did something wrong here. All right. All right, a lot of this happens to fall right on the flat. So actually, let's see. So a lot of this, actually this whole section of detail here, I can actually just regular push-pull. This piece right here, I will have to turn off my hidden geometry, select it, use joint push-pull to pull that down. I created an extra face or something there. Is that an extra face or is that a hole?
Why not both?
It is a hole. Well, I created a face here. Let's see if we can slide under here and figure out how to heal this thing up. Here's one piece. Oh, did not get lucky. All right. If I go like that, that should do it. It's probably the easier way to do it. Yeah, this may have been a spot where it could have been quicker and easier to hop out and redo it at a different scale to clean that up, but at this point I'm halfway through fixing it. I'm really committing to this whole just get her done. I guess I'm honoring your time, guys, your time and energy. Thanks for coming. All right, that wasn't too bad. It's weird because that all happened on the flat. Like none of those sections were where it hit the curve. It was just for whatever reason the extension didn't want to create that that flat piece. But ooh, layer. That looks pretty cool. I like that. All right, let's one last piece now. Oh, that's turning out pretty nice. I'm liking this. Let's get, so this does have, obviously there's more organic here, like these kind of scratches or grain or whatever in here. And that's cool. I could go find something that is along those lines to put in as a material. But like I said, I want to try Tyson's his gradient in creating a gradient texture from right inside SketchUp trick. Because I haven't done this before. I thought it was super cool. So I believe you do something like this. You come in here, get an arc, and then change that, get a solid, whoa. Wait, I'll come back to this. I got a question for anybody else using Mac, because I have an issue I've been hitting that I don't think is normal. All right, now I got to put a color on here. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to pick kind of one of the medium tones of the knife here. So I'm going to try to find maybe that one. We'll try that. Let's see if that's too dark. No, I think that's good. That's going to be good. All right, there we go. See that? See what I just created right there?
Me too.
All right. Now, wrong. Okay, there we go. Now I'm just going to come in here, do a screenshot. Oh, look at that. Man, that looks nice. All right, and I'm going to create another rectangle as big as the blade, and then import, not SketchUp files. We're going back to supported image types. Grab this, importing as a texture.
Did Tyson come up with this trick on his own? Or did he discover it, someone else doing it?
I don't know. He did it, and that's why I gave him credit, but he could totally have stolen this.
All right.
I'll
accept either answer without judgment.
Oh, I know you've judged already. I don't, that's never been a question.
Nice.
It's a little harsh, but kind of like it. Okay, so I could take that texture and we could wrong one. When you create a projected texture, a lot of times it'll duplicate that. So nope. There we go. A little paler. All right, and then a little more green than that. I kind of like that. All right, there we go. And if we wanted to, actually, I could come in here, maybe grab the darkest value that we have there. Oops, I need that back up. Pick the shadowiest value and maybe fill that into oops. Let's grab a darker texture. All right.
Looks pretty good.
I feel pretty good about where this ended up. Now we need to scale it. Would you say, oops. Left half my knife behind. That is embarrassing. Never make it as a Fremen with that kind of. How did I ungroup that? Did I explode it? I must have.
I'm not even sure.
That did not line up right. Give me a different corner to work with. Here we go. tip's just a little too wily. Awesome. Take that, make that a group again. Ooh. All right, so one of the other things I could do, I'm not sure, for whatever reason, I'm feeling kind of hesitant to explode this into one piece.
Take it into a new file.
So what I'll do instead, I'll do this. I will get rid of this internal face. So I'll come in here, delete that, and then grab all these edges and just hide them. And that'll give me the appearance that it's welded back into one piece. Same thing here. Select that face, delete it. Grab the bottom edge. Missed one. Hide that. Now they join together. Same thing out here. I'm gonna do this one a little bit different because it's a weird shape. I'm gonna double click here first. Turn the face off. Hide that first and then come delete the face. There we go. Something happened here. I got an extra line somewhere. I don't know how I did it. Do I dare soften and smooth the whole thing? He says after he's already done it. That worked out pretty well. That one may have been okay to leave the edge on, but actually that was kind of cool. All right.
Nice.
One last piece, of course, would be to get this thing to the right scale. And would you say a 20 or 7-inch blade?
The blade is, 7 inches, 20 centimeters.
All right, so if I was to come here, this is according to the book, so I don't know about something like that. And I'll actually group it all together so we don't. So if I was to grab this, I don't think, or 7 and 7/8, so I'm gonna say 8-inch. If I do that, yeah, that leaves me with a very, very small handle. Let's see. The biggest part of the handle then is just under 3 inches. I don't have huge hands, but I think I would need a good 4 to 5 inches for a handle.
So maybe it's not 20 centimeters, maybe it's 30 centimeters or 25 centimeters.
What if I did this? What if, right, okay. Let's say hypothetically, I said, okay, Sumele, here, let's put this right here on the origin. Let's just scale it to Sumele. That-ish. Yeah, hey, if I don't look at Sumele, it's perfect scale.
Nice. I mean, 15-year-old boy, although I guess this isn't designed necessarily for a 15-year-old boy.
Yeah, it is. It does look. It looks big on him, but that's okay. Got to re-soften the tip. Cool. All right, so there we go. Mostly native tools with a little bit of joint push pull, but yeah, I mean, and you know what? I didn't even have to do that joint push pull step. I could have just left those on the surface and colored them if I wanted to totally skip using extensions. But I'd say for what was that, like an hour and 20 minutes? It turned out pretty cool.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
Time to 3D print that thing. Slide that over so it's not. Ooh, that looks dangerous. I was going to ask this though. Has anybody else had this thing? I've had this thing lately where when I hit cap lock or caps lock, my Mac like sits still for a second or two. Like I don't know.
I thought they got rid of the caps lock button.
Like there. So ready? So toggle caps lock. Caps lock.
Just to think about it.
It's weird. I don't know. Has anybody else? Have you guys seen that? It's specifically that key because I'm a terrible typist. I feel like I spend a lot of time telling you things I'm bad at on this show.
Well, when you have as many things that you're bad at as you do, it
gonna-
seems sort of inevitable.
It's going to take some time to get through it all.
Yeah.
I need to start getting Stuart Smalley in here and affirming things about myself every once in a while. I have wonderful feet. No, I don't. They're weird looking. Feet in general look weird. But yeah, I don't know. Caps lock. Have anyone else ever seen that? So it's weird.
No, I have not encountered that.
I'm not using Windows. I've already been there. I'm on the other side of that whole thing. So cool. Well, hey, that was a lot of fun. That was a cool model to throw together. And timely. That's cool. Did Tyson commit to that other model that we were talking about? Can I say it now?
I don't. I mean, if you say it now, then yes, he's committed.
Has he been on? Have we seen his name come by? Or
He's not come by.
oh, all right. Well, Tyson was potentially talking about modeling an ornithopter next week. So now he has to.
The big version as opposed to the baby version that you made last time.
Right. I don't know if you guys remember, or I don't know how many of you were there for it, but we actually modeled an ornithopter once before, and that was way back. Remember, Dune's been released like 3 times now, but never made it to the theater until now. So back when it was, big hype towards the beginning of the pandemic, we actually did a live model where we modeled off of one image we found. And we weren't even 100% sure when we were modeling it if it was really from Dune or not. But it was a cool looking thing. So we modeled it, and it did turn out to be there's like 3 or 4 different ornithopters in the show, in the movie. So, but he was talking about maybe modeling one of them next week. So we'll see. Maybe that'll happen. That could happen. It's a thing that could happen. But for now, I'd say we are DUNE done. And yeah, I feel pretty good about how that turned out. That was a fun little model. And that's where we're gonna end it right here and right now. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. Do come back next week. Tyson's going to be here modeling something. If it's not an ornithopter, it will be something else. And if you haven't checked it out, do check out 3D Basecamp. You have plenty of time to plan on it. I know it means flying somewhere, staying somewhere, attending a conference, but we're hoping we're far enough out that most of this pandemic stuff will be in the rearview mirror, that we can start acting like we did beforehand, and have some fun, hang out. So check it out, keep an eye on it. It's going to be a good time. Anything else to add before we wrap up, Jody?
None I can think of. I do like how much we're really riding this Dune bandwagon as far as things to model. So
Yeah.
maybe we just have a month of only Dune stuff.
Just a Dune modeling month. Actually, there's another movie coming up that I want to model a prop from, but I'm going to...
The Matrix.
No, that was not. Maybe I already did. Maybe I did model.
Maybe everything you modeled actually technically is in the Matrix. Because
Maybe I modeled this before Dune, and this was actually what they... No, it's not a time travel movie. That's something different.
Dang.
Anyhow, yeah, so I have some ideas for upcoming movies, but we would love to hear your ideas as well. So if you do have some ideas, go ahead, type them in the chat now, or head over to our forum, forums.sketchup.com. Leave us a note over there, because we like making these models, but it's even better when it's something you guys suggest. So it was not Buzz Lightyear either, though that does look interesting.
Could be a fun one, especially if you only have to put a texture of his face inside of the helmet.
Unless you're just a ball with a Buzz face on it. I like that idea. Do a project with a follower. So, we've actually talked about live modeling with people. The biggest problem we have with remote modelers is there's such a lag. So when we do this here in the studio, I'm modeling, my computer is directly hooked up to a computer, this camera is hooked up directly to a computer, our mics are hooked up to the same computer, and all of that goes out as a single stream. When we try to do remote modeling, it's rough. We did some of that for Fireside Chat, and we had a couple people who had less than perfect, or even with good connections, there's such a delay on what you see on the screen. So, doing things like turning around, animating like this in 3D end up being this. So modeling live through Hangouts or something like that is difficult. Even Crowdcast, which is the what we use for our live events, has a delay on it that can be pretty rough. So we're not opposed to having other people do it, but until we get to the point where we can, either go to them for these live streams or have them come into our studio.
Or we could have a base camp, 3D base camp, where everybody's drinking beers and going on a stage and modeling head to head.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a thing.
Boy, that's gonna happen.
We've done that one before.
It is gonna happen. Yeah, we do this thing called, hold on, I blanked out. The shootout.
Shootout.
SketchUp shootout, where two people get on two computers next to each other, and we do like head-to-head Pictionary, basically, where if you haven't seen it before, you get presented with a prompt. It might say lamp, it might say scuba gear, it might say
Scooby-Doo.
fish. And you have to model in 3D, and whoever creates a 3D model that makes the crowd guess first wins. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. But yeah. So yeah. Again, it's going to keep coming back to Basecamp because Jody and I are both very excited about that. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Anyhow, yeah, that's it. We'll call it. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we will see you all next week.
Enjoy your weekend and set your clock. Fall back. Fall back?
Is that now? Is that time?
It's Saturday night.
Oh, man.
If you're in the U.S., you already did that. You should have already done that if you're in the U.K.
I'll make sure I clear my calendar for Sunday morning. See you guys.
See ya.